What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here with
Gersh1.
And guess what? We're back at it answering more questions from you guys in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. We also have super thanks. If you guys want to support the channel, you can. You can hit us up with a super thanks. If you do, ask us whatever you want, and we will answer it guaranteed in the next question video thingy, the Greater WAAAGH. This question comes from Christian Webster. What makes the Warhammer 40K setting so compelling to you guys and just in general? So in other words, why did we get into 40K?
Yeah, 40K is unique because I feel like a lot of sci-fi IPs try to be 40K and they just end up coming short. Yes. The main reason why we got into 40K is because we wanted to fight against each other in a more civilized way instead of just using wooden swords and Nerf guns.
Yeah. But so we come from an era of when we were like, video games were obviously big, but we wanted sleepovers. Like we all wanted to be in the same house while we played games. Yeah. And tabletop games just was a no-brainer. And the fact that you can create your own army, I think the homebrew element of Warhammer is what drew us to Warhammer.
Yeah, because we didn't know anything about the lore, anything about like the world building and the whole universe. We just saw these badass looking space wolves on the shelf, and we're like, hey, we can build that.
Heck yeah. Little did we know that one box for 3 guys was not good. But we made it work, and now we're doing this.
Yeah.
In terms of the lore, what aspect of the lore do you...
I like the hopelessness.
Yeah.
Like in more recent times, I feel like it's becoming a little too like campy and like, oh, the good guys always win. Wait, there's no good guys. But like when I was first getting into the lore, seeing all these battles, all these worlds dying, the Space Marines not coming out on top every single time, named characters dying, like Tycho from the Blood Angels, I was like, holy shit, this is like pretty awesome. Because it reminded me a little bit of like Berserk and Guts, where it's like this fucked up world and like you're doing your best to come out on top, but it just keeps on pushing you down and down and down. And that's what I really liked about it. Reading into chaos, the whole demons, the demon Kulaba, it was really awesome. And of course, you have the completely different side of it. Awesome weeaboo battle suits with the towel. And I'm like, yeah, this is me right here.
It was like a little refresher, like a little break from the grim darkness. I do think that the grim darkness aesthetic is something very unique to 40K because you see it, and I think what you're describing of like the campy element of it, I think the IPs that are not the tabletop usually try to create Warhammer 40K as more of like a Star Wars type of world.
Yeah, to just get a bigger audience.
But it's not that, and I think the part of Chaos itself, like the Immaterium, was a big draw for me of just like, that's super badass. So you're telling me that these savage orcs that don't have like children, they're just like born from fungus and spores and stuff, they go into this other dimension and they fight demons, and it's just a constant like bloodshed. I think that was one of the things that just kind of drew me into 40K in general. Like, how does each faction deal with this Immaterium, deal with this mind-bending thing that is there to kill you at the end of the day?
Yeah. Or convert you over to its side.
Yeah, but even then, even if you're converted over to... I think because that's what the Horrible Reality series was all about. Like, even if you're a Khorne Berserker, you're not going to be happy. If you're a Tzeentchian Sorcerer, you're not going to be happy. Like because it's attacking you. One of my favorite one of my favorite like fan animations was Death of Hope.
Yes.
When they're walking in one of like the ships that's in the warp, and like there's demons walking alongside with them, like mocking them, kind of like saying like, hey, like come outside, that kind of thing. And it's Chaos Space Marines. So it's not even like the good guys and the demons are mocking them. It's the bad guys and the demons are like, I don't give a fuck if you're a superhuman warrior. Open this thing so I can fuck with you. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and I feel like nowadays more people are going to be driven into this IP because of Space Marine 2. Yeah. But I feel like Space Marine 2, while being a really good way of like opening the greater audience to what Warhammer 40K is, I feel like they're going to be kind of stuck in this whole, oh, okay, so all Space Marines are basically like Spartans from Halo, or they're basically like these super soldiers from any other like sci-fi franchise. But the more you get into the lore, the more you see how vastly different and unique it is.
Yeah, because you got to think about it too. Like when Space Hulk came out, like it's guys in Terminator armor, so like superhuman warriors in Terminator armor because they don't want to go in there in regular armor.
Mm-hmm.
They need that extra protection because that Space Hulk is full of demons and gene stealers and yeah.
Yeah, they want to keep their genes on.
Yeah. Next question.
This one is by Revenville2105. When do you think we'll actually get a new lore book that moves the story instead of 8 books on a single event that's like 3 hours long?
We've talked about this before. I think the more open-ended a campaign story is, the better it is for the tabletop players.
Yeah, definitely. Nowadays, like, yeah, the lore has been kind of, well, ever since 8th edition, I felt like the lore was getting pushed too quickly. And now I feel like they're toning it back and giving us more campaigns on like certain instances. And not just that, but we're also getting certain events that we forgot to cover in previous editions. So new things are coming out. The timeline isn't just a static thing, it actually branches out. And I think that's one of the cool things about 40K, where you don't have to be constantly moving the story forward to get battles, character development, new models. Like this is a universe that like there are constantly things happening at the same time, certain events triggering other events, influencing other characters, and that's one of the cool things that I really like about this.
Yeah, sometimes you need to just pause and enjoy the journey that 40K's, or that I guess Games Workshop is creating, and understand that, like, yeah, sometimes it's fun to go back to the Indomitus Crusade and kind of figure out, like, what was it really like?
Yeah.
Was it sad?
Instead of just going to like, oh, Gilliman fought Mortarion. Okay, who's the next Primarch coming out? Who's the next Primarch coming out? Hold on, man. Like, forgot about, Abaddon and what he was doing. Oh, he's got Harkin World Claimer over here. What happened to him?
Yeah.
It's like, it's not always just more on like what's going to happen next. It's like, relax.
Yeah, because you got to think about it too. Like, as an old school gamer, we didn't get a continuation in the story
For a long time. Until 8th edition. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When the Primaris Marines came out.
So like 2000, how old were we when we were in 4th grade? 2000 something or another.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah, and then we didn't get anything in 2016, 17.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you guys are lucky right now.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Austin Palmer. Would you guys like some Tau or Orc terrain? Yeah.
Of course. I like both, really, because one's like futuristic and like rounded. The other one's jagged and looks almost like a shanty town kind of thing.
Yeah, there's some really cool Instagram content or creators that are just like creating some super dope orc stuff. Tau, I feel, is difficult to find because of the round aspect of it. You need to have some type of understanding of how to manipulate terrain. Next question.
Guild of Noobs. If you guys could spend a day with one Primarch, which one would it be and why?
Well, Magnus, I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, just the amount of knowledge that you can get from him, and maybe he'll teach you a spell or two. Why not?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
The big one asks, how big is the average Sister of Battle? Are they the same height and weight as a regular woman, or are they considered bigger?
I feel like they have to be a little bit bigger, not just because of like the armor and stuff, but they have to have certain muscle mass in order to be able to wield and pass the exams, especially if they're going through the Schola Progenium.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got to be a little bit bigger, a little bit tougher, a little bit hardier. And who knows, like, depending on from what world they come from, the gravity might be higher or lower, so their musculature is a little bit different. You got to remember that these people, these humans, don't just come from Terra. They also inhabit other worlds, and like the flora and the fauna can also influence their bodies and the way they like metabolize things. So there's different types of body types out there.
Yeah. So think of like Russian women.
They're in a hurry.
Next question comes from Sea Captain Nemo. What's considered the rate for TEEF to USD? So the cool thing about TEEF as opposed to USD, TEEF is the currency of the orcs, is that it's not inflationary at all. So it's Bitcoin. So the price of Bitcoin is the price of a tooth.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing about orcs. Like, they'll pop a tooth out and it'll just regrow.
Yeah, orcs are technically millionaires. Next question.
This one's by Philip Mitchell. Isn't the Void Dragon not a shard, though, but just a whole Catan? Well, it was rumored that the Void Dragon, which was under the Martian sands, was a fully unsharded Catan, and that's been debunked. Because now we know that there are other shards of the Void Dragon out there, but the one in Mars is just the most complete of all the shards.
And isn't it like, wait, one shard is more than the sum of its parts, or what's the
So
saying?
if you have like 4 Catan shards and you fuse 2 of them together, these 2 aren't equal to the other 2 separately. Like, when they fuse, it's not just 1 plus 1. It's like 1 plus 1 plus some other number.
Because they're more complete.
They're more complete. They gain more memories of how powerful they used to be, so they know more abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those were the questions for today. Thank you guys so much for asking those questions. If we missed you, ask again, and we'll talk next time.
That's right. Keep those questions coming, guys, and so will we. This has been The Sound Alchemist,
Gershwan.
and we are out.
Always used to put my freedom first.